Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Fred Meyer, and I'm giving another in a series of talks about Buddhist enlightenment. The topic that I'll be covering today is Enlightened Conduct. Up to this point, most of the things that I have discussed have to do with the insight aspects of the Dharma. Experiences, things that we see on the path that allow us to progress on the path to final enlightenment. Such things as seeing that we don't exist as a self or an ego, the underlying emptiness of the world, such things as understanding that form is emptiness. These are all insights, the insight aspect of the Dharma. But there's a whole other important aspect of Buddhism as well, which is our conduct, how we behave in the world. The Buddha thought that the conduct was very important. He had an eightfold path that he taught about ways that we can become enlightened in this lifetime if we follow certain guidelines. And of the 8 teachings that he presented, 3 of those had to do with conduct. For example, and this is not an exhaustive coverage of these, but just to sort of help you understand how he thought about appropriate conduct. He had one called right speech, or appropriate, correct speech. And this included no lying, no deceit or slander. Right action involved not killing, stealing, or not being involved in fraudulent activities. Right livelihood was not being involved in selling drugs or alcohol, or being involved in making weapons or prostitution or things like this. So conduct was very important to the Buddha, and it was also an area that the Sangha paid a lot of the Sangha, the group of Buddhist practitioners, paid a lot of attention to during Buddha's times. And at this time today, Buddhist monks probably have over 200 different prescriptions that they have to follow in terms of their conduct. So conduct is very important in the Dharma, as well as the insight component. We also know, or maybe we don't, but we should, about the 6 paramitas. These are Mahayana teachings. Para means over, and mita means shore. So these are ways that we approach life to take us to the other shore, which means enlightenment. And 5 of those 6 paramitas have a component of conduct or behavior. They are generosity, being generous, being disciplined, which means being ethical, acting in an ethical way, being patient in our life, being exertive, that is with joyfully being engaged in the appropriate things that we should do, and meditative awareness, learning to be present in our world. And finally, the last one has to do with insight, which is prajna, which means that which prajna is the tool which sees emptiness. So that's the insight component. So we can see the importance of appropriate behavior, approaching the world appropriately from the standpoint of how we act. To describe the paramitas a little bit more, the first five paramitas are often thought of as an army, and the sixth, prajna, the insight aspect, is thought of as a general. So if you have simply the conduct without the insight, it's like an army without a general. I mean, it's chaotic, it can't act effectively, it can't get the job done. On the other hand, if you just have prajna, if you just have insight, it's like a general without the army. So it doesn't matter what kind of knowledge this general has about warfare and all that. He's never going to be involved in any warfare because he doesn't have an army. So that gives you a sense of how the interaction between conduct and insight work. There was a teacher, Padmasambhava. Anyone in Tibetan Buddhism knows of him. He was quite instrumental in bringing Buddhism to Tibet when it first came to Tibet. And he once said, "Though your view is higher than the sky, keep your deeds finer than barley flour." Which means simply that no matter what your level of understanding of the Dharma is, how far you've progressed on the insight aspects of the Dharma, you still must always pay very, very close attention to how you act in the world, how you conduct yourself in the world. You still must pay very close attention to that. Now, it is true that if we do understand the true nature of mind, if we have a sense of the things that I've talked about in previous talks, that it does help the way we act in the world. That mind is vast. It's a naturally caring mind. It is not dualistic. It doesn't break the world up into this and that, or me and you, and for that doesn't generate things like passion, aggression, and ignorance that can cause us to have inappropriate conduct. So it is helpful to have that mind in terms of our conduct. It's very helpful. On the other hand, as Padmasambhava said, no matter how far along you are on the path, from the insight standpoint, you still must carefully watch how you act in the world. Now, say you don't have insight, you haven't seen things on the path that have helped you to understand the nature of mind or the nature of reality and so forth. If that's the case, then it's absolutely imperative that your conduct be correct. If we become involved in lying or stealing or slandering or any of these things, it basically poisons that mind that we are trying to see with insight. It will never be accessible to us. First of all those things are heavily dualistic. I mean, if you actually commit yourself to cheating someone or lying to them or whatever, I mean, you have created, by doing that, a really heavily dualistic situation. And there is no possibility of accessing the true nature of mind in that kind of a setting. And finally, the overriding principle of the Dharma, as I see it, and I don't think that many people will argue about what I have to say. Of course, people will argue about anything. But I feel that the overriding importance, the overriding principle of the Dharma is to be of benefit to others. be helpful to others. That's the best reason to attain enlightenment, is to do so to be of benefit in this world, to help others. And of course, if we get caught in problems with inappropriate conduct, like the ones that I outlined, I mean, that is so harmful to people to do those things. It's so destructive to do those things, as well as destructive to ourselves, that there's just really no place, I would say, for someone who is interested in attaining enlightenment in this lifetime for those sort of activities. They will definitely preclude you from any chance of being successful in the path. So in summary, no matter where we are on the path in terms of insight, we must always maintain ethical conduct. If we have a little insight and wish to have more, we have basically no chance of progressing to greater insight if we are not ethically sound. And finally, in my opinion and others' opinions, the whole rationale for doing the Dharma, for trying to become enlightened, is to be of benefit to others, to help this world in an effective way, and to be involved in conduct that is harmful to people, destructive to them, has really no place in anyone who wishes to be successful on the path to enlightenment. So, thank you so much for listening. I hope you have found these comments